Welcome to the College of Fellows Voices for the Future series. I'm Margaret Ann Hennon, a member of the College of Fellows, and with me today is Greg Bailey, APR, Fellow PRSA. Greg was inducted into the college in 2016 and has served as chair of the College of Fellows. Currently, he's serving as the leader of our strategic plan. Thank you, Greg, for being with me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
Well, as chair of the College of Fellows, Greg, you had a tremendous impact upon the college. And I'm wondering if you could share with us what kind of an impact the college has had on you and your career.
I'm just so grateful to be a member of the college. I wouldn't have 20 years ago, I would have never thought about the College of Fellows and being a member, and you just do your work and you move forward. And I was encouraged to apply, and so it's just become such an important part of my professional life since 2016. The volunteer work I've done has been the most gratifying work I think I've ever done. It's connected me with the best people in our profession, and offered me opportunities that I would have not had otherwise. So, it's really like a master class in public relations when you interface and you network and you talk with these people, all across the country. And the greatest thing for me is the establishment of a national network of people that are right there, that you can email or call or get on Zoom with. And so it's just been invaluable to me, and really made the latter part of my career even more meaningful.
Great. Well, you certainly have mentored a lot of people, and you've made a big difference in the college and in the lives of many of our members. Is there anyone in your past or your present who has been a particular mentor to you?
Well, I've been lucky. I've had so many. I don't think, unless somebody assigns you a mentor in some kind of program, you ever think of people as being mentors. Mm-hmm. But I've had mentors for years. I think I go back. My parents taught me about professionalism, and they weren't like CEO ranking folks, but they took their job seriously, and they always strove to be very good in their jobs. And so I think I picked that up. My mother taught me, the value of giving back to your community, or your church, or to your profession, whatever you were doing, that you would get back by giving. So, my first boss in public relations, I came out of the newspaper business and went in, and it was a graduate course in PR and business, really. So I think about that, and I had former business partners. We had 3 former business partners in our old PR firm they didn't know they were mentors to me, but I soaked up so much from them because they had been in the industry for so long so I had those, and then now, I've learned so much from you, Margaret Ann, and I learned so much from other members of the college who I feel like I have this collection of mentors today who have all kinds of different experiences in the profession and PRSA, and I just there's no one person that stands out, because it's just sort of been this lifelong mentoring that as you look back and you begin to say, oh, that person taught me so much, I learned so much from them. So yeah, some people just have one great mentor. I've been so fortunate to have this whole lifelong group of them. And in mentoring, I've always thought mentoring is really about listening to someone and helping them think through an opportunity or challenges, and that's happened so much for me. And I always, when I realize that I'm working with a younger professional today, I'm always kind of trying to get them to think beyond to what is now and what can be, and really to stretch beyond your comfort zone, to address those kind of opportunities. So I think I had to become a member of the college to really begin to think back about mentoring, because that's such an important part of what we do. It's just taken me a while. I have to sit down and really think, and they all kind of pop up out of nowhere. So I've been really lucky.
Well, and I know that you have been a mentor to many people. You have a very wide world view and always give very sound advice, which I have certainly appreciated over the years as well. But if you were talking to a young professional, and I know you've inspired a number of young professionals to move forward and apply for the college, but what do you tell someone early in their career about the College of Fellows?
That it's I always talk about how it's benefited me, and I do start there, and what the people that I've met and the things that I have learned and the opportunities to serve. I also talk about it as sort of, it is a feather in your cap, frankly, of an outstanding career, an outstanding service, and all the things we talk about, advancing the profession and being a mentor and all of those things. In that you will find yourself after that induction extremely grateful for having gone through the process and for being recognized as one of these, 350 something folks out of 17,000 members of PRSA who are members of the college. So we don't consider ourselves an exclusive club, but it is an exclusive group of people who have reached the highest points in our profession.
So, can you share with us some maybe examples you used on your application, maybe things that have happened since, but things that you are really proud of in your public relations career?
So I always use this as the only ethical dilemma I ever had in my career. I was so fortunate to work for really good organizations who understood the value of communication. And this client did as well, but I was doing a public affairs grassroots advocacy project, and we were developing a coalition to support this particular issue in the state. And we were going to buy some print ads, and we were going to do some radio, we were going to do some other things. And so I saw the proof of the first print ad, and the name of the client wasn't listed among the organizations. And I went back and I said, look, we have to add the name, your name here. And well, we don't do that. And I said, well, then I can't work on this because ethically what you're doing is promoting a front group. And I don't think that you realize that you're doing that. But this, you're paying for this ad, and I can tell you a reporter will go upstairs to the advertising department and tomorrow and ask, who paid for this ad? And when it's coming back to your office in Washington, then there's a story there that's gonna blow up this coalition, when it's just as easy to put your name on the ad and everybody chips in $100 or whatever to help pay for the advertising. And I got some pushback, and it finally went to the division VP in DC, who finally agreed that we were really going to be in bigger trouble if we didn't put our name on it than if we didn't put our name on it than if we did. And it all worked out. A very successful campaign, but that was the one point where I just said, I'm going to pack my bag and go home, because I can't work on this if you're not going to be upfront that we're leading this charge along with these other organizations. So I don't even remember if I put that in my application or not, but I've always used that as an ethical dilemma, where you just have to keep pushing for what's right and what's ethical and what's true, and hopefully they'll come along and see your way.
Has the PRSA Code of Ethics been influential for you in forming that kind of a conversation with clients?
Yeah, well, I would have never, if it hadn't been for the Code of Ethics, Margaret, I probably would have never even, known about any of that. So, yeah, it's always been front and center. And, from time to time through the years in our, proposal marketing materials, the code was in there. We've always talked about the code. We always wanted staff members to be members of PRSA so that they adopted the code. So it's been integral, in my career, and especially on on some things that might be somewhat controversial to be representing, but to be open and honest and following the code is going to sort of lead you on that golden path. I mean, you're not if you follow the code, then all is right. So it's been very influential to me.
I think sometimes younger people, as they're entering the profession, don't think that what they do is that they're not making decisions about ethics. How would you respond to them if someone said, "Oh, that's for the senior management"?
We're the conscience of the business. No matter whether it's your internal, if you're in a corporate, a corporate communications department or an agency, in working with a client, we are the conscience, and I've always believed that when anything got a little bit sketchy, and I don't care what age you are. I mean, at some point, if something's going off the side of the track, I think you have to stand up and say, "Hey, this is not right. This is not ethical. We will get in trouble by doing this," and and we can afford that. And I don't think I think it's everyone's responsibility to uphold the code of ethics and follow ethical behavior, and to call it when you see it. And yeah, you might get end up in the boss's office at some point, but I still think you're standing up for what's right and what's true. And in the end of the day, what's going to benefit both the client or the company and you.
It sounds to me like your guiding philosophy or your North Star has been doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Is that fair?
Well, yeah, that is, and I think you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do and it's the honest thing to do, and one fib leads to a second fib, which leads to the third fib, which leads to a fourth one, and then you're boxed in, and then you're out of luck. So you just do the right thing because that's what you should be doing. I mean, it's the golden, to me, it's a golden rule of business: is be honest, be open, and do what's right by other people as well.
I agree. You said that you started out in journalism. So when did you make this decision? What was what made you stop and say, "Wait, I think I want to turn directions"?
Well, part of it was financial, I think. I had, I think I had a newborn baby, and I probably could have moved on to another market. We had family I'm in Nashville. We had family here. We had a new baby, and both of us were working. And I kind of looked around, and I think I'd done everything in the newspaper business that I'd wanted to do, other than like work at the New York Times or, the Washington Post or somewhere like that, and I didn't see that in the foreseeable future. And I knew some folks who had left the newspaper business for PR. I probably spent a year talking to people before I made that move. And I went and talked to this agency owner here, and very gracious, very nice, and didn't have an opening, and so I kind of moved on in my career and took a job as the managing editor of the local business journal here. And out of the blue one day I get this phone call, and she said, "Well, I have this position that I know we talked about, and I finally have an opening. Would you like to come talk to me?" And I said, "Well, sure." And I think she was going to offer me $6,000, $7,000 more dollars a year, but I saw it as a chance to try something different.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in the newspaper business and had different roles and responsibilities through those years, and I said, "Well, this is something different. If it flames out in 6 months, it flames out in a year, then I'll just go back into journalism in some form." But I really kind of enjoyed what I was doing, and I walked right into a massive crisis, community-wide project, and my first day, I got this notebook, and it said, "This is what you're going to be doing," and it's 150 PowerPoint slides with all this different, we got to do this, we got to do that. I went, holy moly, what have I gotten myself into here? It's not just writing news releases and going and throwing events. Anyway, but that's really kind of what tipped me. I was looking for something different, and then I knew that I just was not going to make enough money to really help support a family, staying in that particular, at least stayed in this particular
Mm-hmm.
market in the newspaper business.
And you've never looked back.
I never had. Well, there's been a couple of times. There were a couple of those. There was a couple of those nights when I'm still sitting in an office at 7:30 on a Friday night, and I'm going, "Really, is this what I'm supposed to be doing in life?" But I really never kind of looked back. I just kind of shook those off. And 3 years later, I started a firm that we had for 17 years with two other great partners, and we had a long run, and that was enjoyable. And I did some phenomenal work, and we just were. I was just never. Again, I never imagined myself in that kind of position in my professional career. But no, I've never looked back, and it's just been very rewarding, and I learned a whole lot. I always tell people it's a doctorate in the human condition to be in PR, because, as I told a friend yesterday, I said, part of what this guy wanted was some therapy. I was like his therapist for 36 hours before we ever talked about doing business together. But no, it's highly rewarding, and it's been it's lots of fun.
Great. Oh, thanks so much for all these insights. I learned all kinds of things about you that I didn't know before, even though we've worked closely together over the years. Is there anything else that we should talk about that we haven't talked about?
Well, here's another thing for young professionals. A couple of things that come to mind. First of all, young professionals today, I think it's a challenge. It's really challenging, especially as we're so splintered in different directions going all the time. And I think about how valuable PRSA membership really has been to me and is. And I always think, if you're a PRSA student, stick with it, go forward, go to meetings when you can, take advantage of all those webinars. You really don't have to go get a master's degree in PR if you'll just participate in all the free webinars you get with your membership. Artificial intelligence and writing and there's something almost every week that will add to your body of knowledge. So continue to soak it up where you can. And just the other thing is urging people who are accredited, who have 20 plus years of experience, to think about applying for the College of Fellows. I think it's just an incredible experience to go through that process. It's a strenuous walk, but it's a really gratifying walk to walk back through that career. But you may have been involved in a section or your district or the national committee or in the national board, but I just don't think there's anything quite like this group of 300 plus people who share the designation of fellow PRSA and wear that medallion a few times a year. But it goes so much deeper than that, with the relationships that you enhance, that you may already have, but the other people that you'll meet that you would not have met otherwise, and have such great camaraderie with. So, if you're eligible, apply. We would love to, bring you along.
Thank you, Greg. Oh, thank you so much. It's been delightful talking with you. And I look forward to future conversations as well.